Once upon a time, in a beautiful place called Willow Woods, where the trees reached right up to the sky and the colors were ever so bright, there was a giant, crystal-clear blue pond. The pond was surrounded by cheerful animals, singing birds, buzzing bees, and of course, bouncing frogs. Among them was a very special frog named Freddie. Freddie had the brightest green skin and the biggest, widest smile in the woods. And he was the best jumper of all the frogs. On land, he would go boing, 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 and leap so high he could touch the lowest branches of the trees. His friends, Daisy and Oliver, would clap and say, "Wow, Freddie, you're brilliant." Freddie's big secret. But Freddie had a huge secret that he was too embarrassed to tell anyone. Even though he was a frog, he was terrified of the water. Yes, you heard that right. He didn't like the water one bit. On hot summer days, the other frogs would dive into the pond with a massive splash. Splash! Swimming happily and playing games with the water droplets. But whenever Freddie went near the edge of the pond, his heart would start beating very fast. Thump thump, thump thump. The water looked too deep, too cold, and too dark to him. What if I sink to the bottom? What if I can't breathe? What if I get lost in the water? He thought worriedly. So, Freddie always made up excuses not to go in. My tummy is too full today, swimming will make me feel poorly, he would say. Or, oh dear, I've lost my favorite orange-spotted pebble, I must go and find it, and he would hop away into the woods. Only when he was very, very hot, would he dip the very tips of his toes into the water with a tiny drip and pull them right back out. And just in case, he always wore a pair of bright yellow armbands on his arms. Wise Timothy's advice. One day, while Freddie was sitting sadly on a big, warm rock by the pond, the oldest and wisest animal in the woods came over to him. It was Timothy the turtle. Timothy slowly poked his wrinkly head out of his heavy shell and smiled. "Hello, Freddie. All your friends are playing hide-and-seek in the water. Why are you sitting here all by yourself?" he asked in a slow, calming voice. Freddie sighed. "I'm afraid of the water, Timothy," he confessed. "I'm not a very good frog. Frogs are supposed to love the water, but I prefer to stay on dry land." Timothy chuckled gently. "Oh, Freddie, being frightened isn't a bad thing," he said. "Fear is just like a little alarm trying to keep us safe. But sometimes, that alarm rings when it doesn't need to. Remember, bravery doesn't mean you're never scared. Bravery means taking a step forward to do the right thing, even when your heart is going thump thump, dot." Freddie tried to understand these words, but the water still looked awfully scary. "Emergency! Pip the Dragonfly is falling." Just then, there was an incredible show happening over the pond. One of Freddie's best friends, the dragonfly named Pip, was practicing his flying tricks. Pip had four delicate, sparkling, rainbow-colored wings. Buzz! He flew to the right. Buzz! He flew to the left. He did somersaults in the air, mesmerizing everyone watching. Look at me! The world is spinning around me, shouted Pip happily. But Pip spun so much that he got dizzy. He lost his balance in the air. He wobbled this way and that way, and then, plop! Pip fell right into the deep water in the middle of the pond. Dragonflies cannot fly when their wings are wet. Pip started flapping helplessly in the water. Help! My wings are wet. I can't fly. Help me, he cried. Everyone panicked. Timothy the turtle was too old and couldn't swim fast enough. The other frogs, Daisy and Oliver, were playing far away in the reeds at the other end of the pond. They hadn't even heard Pip. There was only one person close enough to help Pip, Freddie, sitting on his rock. The leap of courage. Freddie jumped to his feet. Pip was struggling and needed help. Freddie looked at the deep blue water. It still looked huge and deep to him. His heart was beating so fast, it felt like it might pop out of his chest. Thump thump! Thump thump! His hands shook. He looked at his yellow armbands, and then he looked at Pip. Right at that moment, wise Timothy's words echoed in his mind. Bravery doesn't mean you're never scared. It means taking a step even when your heart is going thump thump. Freddie took a huge, deep breath. He squeezed his eyes tightly shut. He bent his long legs and took the biggest leap of his entire life. Boing! He flew and flew through the air, heading straight for the middle of the pond. Sploosh! Magic under the water. When Freddie plunged into the water, he held his breath and slowly opened his eyes. And at that moment, he couldn't believe it. The water wasn't dark at all. The sunlight was shining through the surface, creating beautiful, golden beams. The water wasn't cold, it was warm and soft. It felt like a giant, blue, watery blanket wrapping around him gently. Tiny orange fish swam past, smiling at him and blowing little bubbles, bloop, bloop, bloop. Instinctively, Freddie pushed with his strong back legs. Kick, kick. Suddenly, he was gliding through the water like a little green rocket. He was so fast. He felt so light. Being in the water was even more fun than bouncing in the air. I'm swimming, thought Freddie. I'm actually swimming, and it's brilliant. He quickly swam up to the surface. Just as Pip was getting tired, Freddie popped up and let Pip climb onto his back. Don't be scared, Pip, I've got you. I'll take you to the shore, said Freddie. Pushing the water with his strong legs, he safely carried Pip and gently placed him on a large, dry lily pad. The Fearless Frog. Everyone by the edge of the pond had watched the rescue. Daisy, Oliver, and Timothy the turtle started cheering happily. Hooray for Freddie! You're a hero, they shouted. Pip, shaking his wet wings, gave Freddie a big hug. Thank you, Freddie. You are the bravest frog in the whole world. Freddie beamed. His heart was still beating fast, but not from fear anymore. It was beating fast from happiness and pride. He took off his yellow armbands and left them on the rock. He didn't need them anymore. Timothy the turtle came over to him. I told you, Freddie. You took that step even when your heart was going thump thump. You are no longer just the frog who jumps the furthest. You are Fearless Frog Freddie. Freddie looked at his friends, and then he looked at the sparkling blue pond. Actually, he said with a massive smile, the water isn't too bad. In fact, I think I love swimming even more than jumping. And on that day, for the very first time in his life, without making any excuses, and without his armbands, Freddie ran towards the pond and jumped in with a huge shout of joy. Splash! From that day on, Fearless Frog Freddie became the best swimmer and the happiest frog in the pond. And whenever he felt scared of something, he never forgot to take a deep breath and take that brave step forward. The end.